The man she can't stop thinking about isn't necessarily the most attractive guy in the room. He's not the wealthiest. He might not even be the funniest or the most charismatic. But he understands something about women that 95% of men never do. It's not about pickup lines, expensive gifts, or trying to be the alpha male. In fact, it's something far deeper and far more powerful. Right now, somewhere in the world, there's a man making a woman feel something she's never quite felt before. And it's not just attraction. It's not just comfort. And it's not even love, at least not in the traditional sense. He's making her feel psychologically seen. He's reaching a place in her that bypasses all the walls she's built to protect herself, walls formed by years of letdowns, betrayals, and emotional disconnection. And when a woman feels seen like that, truly seen not for her looks, her role, or what she gives to others, but for who she really is, everything changes. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some men effortlessly attract emotionally intelligent, high-quality women, while others struggle despite doing everything they thought they were supposed to do. You'll see why so much of the dating advice out there has left you feeling confused, frustrated, or even defeated. And most importantly, you'll discover the one quality, the one emotional skill that makes a man unforgettable in the eyes of a woman. But I have to be honest with you, once you see this, you can't unsee it. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. And you'll begin to recognize just how much time you spent trying to look attractive instead of actually being attractive. Section 1. The validation trap. Why everything you've been taught is backwards. Let's start by unraveling one of the biggest lies that's been quietly sabotaging men's dating lives for decades. Here it is. Women are not naturally drawn to men who constantly validate them. I know that goes against almost everything we've been taught. From dating gurus to romantic comedies, the message is always the same. Make her feel special. Tell her she's beautiful. Show her how much you care. Validate her feelings at every turn. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with kindness or respect, here's the hard truth. Excessive validation is one of the fastest ways to become invisible to a woman. Now, before you assume I'm suggesting you be cold, dismissive, or manipulative, take a breath. That's not what this is about. Let's look at what's actually going on psychologically. According to research by Dr. Robert Cialdini, a pioneer in the science of influence and persuasion, there's a powerful, counterintuitive principle at work. Human beings value most what they have to earn. When something comes too easily, even attention, affection, or praise, our brains instinctively assign it less value. Not because we're ungrateful, but because we're wired that way. It's called cognitive ease, and it plays a huge role in attraction. So when a man immediately showers a woman with compliments, agrees with everything she says, or seems overly eager to win her approval, her brain doesn't interpret that as connection. It interprets it as low investment. Low challenge. Low intrigue. It didn't cost her anything emotionally. There was no tension, no curiosity, no depth. Just ease, and ease doesn't stimulate long-term interest. But here's where it gets really interesting. The men who consistently capture women's attention, the ones women describe as magnetic or different, they're not playing mind games. They simply understand something most men don't. Women aren't drawn to men who validate them for who they are. They're drawn to men who see who they could become and reflect that potential back to them. In other words, it's not about praise. It's about presence. Not about making her feel approved of, but making her feel challenged, inspired, and emotionally awakened. Let me give you a real-life example that brings this to life. Section 2. The psychological gap. Why women choose men who remain mysterious. Let me paint you a picture. Two men meet the same woman at a coffee shop. She mentions she's a graphic designer. Man A, the validator, immediately responds, "Wow, that's amazing. You must be so creative. I bet you're really talented. That's such a cool job." Man B, The challenger leans in slightly and says with a curious smile, "Graphic design, huh? So you're one of those people who thinks choosing between 12 shades of blue is a creative decision." Then he adds, "What kind of design actually challenges you?" Man A just told her she's already great. Man B suggested she might not be living up to her full creative potential and gave her a subtle invitation to prove him wrong. Guess which man she's still thinking about 3 hours later? This isn't about being mean. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding that true attraction isn't created through comfort. It's created through tension. Psychological tension, to be exact. Even the Stoic philosophers understood this, though they used different language. Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." In the context of attraction, that means this: for a new connection to feel exciting and real, something old, especially a woman's certainty about herself, has to shift. The men women remember aren't the ones who reinforce everything they already believe. They're the ones who gently disrupt their self-concept, who awaken new thoughts, spark self-reflection, and invite growth. But most men never get there. They're too focused on being liked, too afraid of rejection. So they turn into emotional echo chambers, reflecting back whatever they think a woman wants to hear. But here's the problem. Echo chambers don't create intimacy. They create boredom. The man who understands this doesn't try to validate women. He elevates them. He holds up a mirror to the woman's untapped potential and refuses to pretend the surface version of her is all there is. And that, gentlemen, is the beginning of real attraction. Quick note before we go deeper. I've created something for you called the Attraction Handbook. It's a free guide that reveals how to create lasting emotional connection using just a few powerful psychological shifts. It's free right now. You'll find the link in the description or the pinned comment. Now, let's move into something deeper. Section 3. The psychological gap. Why women choose men who remain mysterious. Meet Sarah. She's a successful attorney, smart, driven, accomplished, and completely used to being in control. She's dated all the right men, lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs. On paper, they were perfect. But in real life, she never felt that electric pull, that all-consuming fascination. Then she meets Jake. Jake's a carpenter. He builds custom furniture, lives in a converted warehouse, and reads philosophy books during his lunch breaks. He has strong opinions about things she's never even considered. And when she vents about her high-stress caseload, he doesn't rush in with comfort or solutions. Instead, he asks, "Why did you choose a career that seems to contradict your values?" Within 3 weeks, this highly rational, grounded woman is rearranging her schedule just to spend time with a man who challenges everything she thought she wanted. So, what did Jake understand that her previous boyfriends didn't? He understood the power of the psychological gap. Modern psychology, including Dr. Helen Fisher's work on love and the brain, shows that uncertainty is more stimulating than certainty. When we can't predict someone's behavior, when we can't fully understand their motivations, our brains become obsessed with solving the puzzle. But here's the key. This isn't about being unpredictable in a chaotic or flaky way. It's about maintaining depth, a kind of layered personality that keeps unfolding the more someone gets to know you. The men who come across as boring or forgettable usually make one crucial mistake. They try to connect by being fully transparent, too fast. They overshare on the first date. They explain everything about themselves, justify every decision, try to be instantly understood. They confuse vulnerability with full disclosure, and in doing so, they eliminate all mystery. But men who attract women effortlessly don't do this. They understand that mystery is not about secrecy. It's about having a rich inner world, beliefs, passions, experiences that weren't designed to impress anyone, but are deeply compelling nonetheless. Jake, for example, didn't read philosophy to impress Sarah. He read it because ideas genuinely fascinated him. He didn't build furniture to be different. He did it because creating with his hands gave him joy. His life had depth, not as a performance, but as a byproduct of living authentically. Here's the takeaway. Stop trying to be completely understood. Start trying to be genuinely interesting. When a woman asks you what you do, don't just describe the duties. Talk about what you love about it, what it's teaching you, how it's changing the way you see the world. When she brings up a challenge, don't rush in with advice. Ask questions that open up a new layer of insight. This is what I call the psychological gap. It's not about being distant. It's about being present, but not completely accessible. It's about creating space for curiosity instead of handing her certainty on a silver platter. Think about the people who fascinate you. They're not the ones you understand completely. They're the ones who surprise you, who have layers, who expand your thinking. That's what women are craving, too. And here's the beautiful irony. The less you try to be understood, the more deeply a woman will want to understand you. Section 3, the sovereignty principle. Why independence is the ultimate aphrodisiac. There's a moment in every woman's romantic history that stays with her, vivid and unforgettable. It's not the moment she fell in love. It's the moment she realized she wanted something she couldn't have. Not because the man was cruel or rejecting, but because he possessed something rare. Something most modern men have unknowingly trained themselves out of: complete psychological independence. Let me be clear about what I mean by independence, because it's often misunderstood, misrepresented, both by pickup artists and relationship experts alike. True independence is not emotional unavailability. It's not about playing games or being deliberately difficult. It's not about not caring. True independence means having a life so rich, so purposeful, so fulfilling, that a woman's presence enhances it, but does not complete it. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The men who are irresistible to women have internalized this Stoic wisdom so deeply that they radiate what I call psychological sovereignty. What does psychological sovereignty look like? You have goals and passions that exist completely independent of your romantic life. You make decisions based on your values, not on what you think will attract or keep a woman. You have a vision for your life so compelling that you'd pursue it whether you were single or married. Most importantly, you don't need a woman's approval to feel good about yourself. This last point is where most men fail, often catastrophically. They seek constant validation from women, from others about their appearance, their choices, their worth. They change their opinions to match hers. They drop friends and interests to spend more time with her. They make her happiness the center of their self-esteem, and then they wonder why the passion fades. Here's a psychological truth that might disturb you. Women lose attraction to men who need them too much. This isn't because women are selfish or cruel. It's because need-based relationships trigger a woman's caretaking instincts, not her mating instincts. When you rely on her validation, approval, or presence to feel whole, she starts to see you as someone to manage, not someone to desire. Dr. Esther Perel's research on long-term relationships reveals that sexual attraction requires what she calls psychological space, the sense that your partner is an autonomous person with their own inner life. When that space collapses, when two people become psychologically fused, desire disappears. But here's the really fascinating part. The men who maintain sovereignty don't do it to attract women. They do it because they've discovered something profound about human nature. You can't truly love someone you need, and you can't be truly loved by someone who needs you. This is the paradox that destroys most relationships. The more you try to secure someone's love by making yourself indispensable, the more you ensure they'll eventually find you dispensable. The sovereign man loves from a place of abundance, not scarcity. He chooses to be with a woman because she adds value to his already meaningful life, not because he needs her to make his life meaningful. And women sense this immediately. When a woman meets a man who has his own mission, his own standards, his own source of fulfillment, something primal awakens in her. She doesn't just want to be with him. She wants to earn her place in his life. This isn't about playing hard to get. This is about actually being something worth getting. The ultimate irony of attraction is this: the less you need someone's love, the more likely you are to receive it. If this video has opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about attraction and relationships, if you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting, here's what to do next. Hit the like button and subscribe for more content that challenges the usual ideas about masculinity and connection. Comment below with the word sovereign. If you're committed to developing that inner strength and self-respect, that naturally draws high-quality women. And ask yourself this powerful question: what would I do with my life if I knew women would be attracted to me regardless? Then start doing that, because the man living his authentic purpose doesn't just attract women. He attracts the right women, and that makes all the difference.